I had 3 different friends pull me aside and say I hadn't looked like myself in a while on stage, and they were wondering, is everything okay? I said it was, but I wasn't really telling the truth. I knew what they were referring to, and I knew why. I just felt like I couldn't talk about it. I was processing some tough emotional things, and I just didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to tell my friends. I didn't know how to talk about it on stage. I was just afraid because I thought it would be too dark or depressing. People just wouldn't want to hear about it. So I kept everything to myself. I'm gonna try and not do that anymore. So here goes. The biggest thing on my mind right now is that I watched my sister try and commit suicide in front of me multiple times. Every part of comedy scares me, from leaving the house, meeting new people, talking to new people, getting on stage, writing jokes, telling those jokes to strange people. At each point in the process, there's the opportunity to embarrass yourself by saying too much or saying the wrong things or losing control of your emotions on stage. So much of my pursuit in comedy has been in fear or about fear, and I don't want to keep doing this because I don't think it's sustainable to be constantly fighting fear like this. There were years and years of me trying to start comedy, writing jokes, getting on stage, being too afraid to come back for a year. I wasn't able to get anything going until December of 2016. My sister had a breakdown that I was present for, and I was charged with physically restraining her so she wouldn't hurt herself or kill herself. I'm not sure all the details of exactly what happened, but it was anxiety, it was psychotic symptoms, and she hasn't recovered from it to this day. And this was a very eye-opening, educational experience, a shock, an epiphany. I don't know what to call it, but it was like a window into what would happen to me if I kept letting fear win. It helped me put things into perspective. And 1 month later, in December of 2017, I started comedy, and I've kept doing comedy to this day. And I'm still very much afraid, but right now, I'm winning. I'm winning against the fear. I've never told this story on stage because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what might happen. I'm afraid that it's not supposed to be told on stage, that people will find it too dark or too personal or just not funny, and they'll hate it and they'll hate me, and they'll wonder why I'm telling it on stage. I sat down and I just wrote about everything I could. I wrote about the day that it happened, how I had recently dropped out of graduate school, so I had the free time to stay up with her and make sure she wasn't hurting herself until we could take her to the mental hospital. And I also just wrote about stuff unrelated to this. I just spilled out trash onto the page, and I cried a little bit. It felt good. It felt good, and cried a little bit more. But it got the juices flowing. It really felt like I was dislodging ice chunks that had been stuck in there for a long time. Memories started to come back. I started to slowly remember different parts and aspects of it and just have a clearer idea of what happened after I had tried to forget it. It went on for days. Then later that week, I was driving, the sun was setting, and I just had to pull over and let it all out.
I'm okay. Not ashamed or embarrassed. I just started crying very loudly when I thought about the last moments I had with my sister as the person she grew up as, and how It was at comedy shows. We went to comedy shows. I didn't see that guy. We didn't even we didn't have like a good relationship. We did a comedy show for my birthday.
Should I just keep talking about depressing things? No? Fuck you. Hey, suicide's funny, right? Like, if you're bad at, like, okay, is that the light? Oh, okay, I'm done. Damn, I have all this sweet suicide stuff. The second time I brought it to stage, I made sure I talked about every single painful detail. This isn't funny at all. Thanks, guys. That's my time. Which was a mistake. No one laughed. It was rather depressing. Still alive? Yeah. But she has brain damage. I try again and again and again until finally I have a breakthrough. It was outside. We were on a baseball field. It was a warm summer night. This was started by my friends. Everyone there was a friend of a friend. People were just nice. I felt very comfortable. I started off by talking about other, more familiar things. And it went well, so I started to talk about what I really wanted to talk about. Suicide can be funny, right? I thought it was funny. I mean, terrifying, but funny because she did it in the most, like, comical way possible. Like, she didn't succeed. Let's be clear about that. But she would just see a window and be like, oh, I want to jump out that window. And then I'd tackle her and be like, haha, not this time. And it got some laughs. Modest laughs, but enough to feel good about myself. She, like, went into the kitchen and found, like, cleaning fluid, but it was, like, organic cleaning fluid that doesn't even kill bacteria. And so she started chugging and she's like, this is real toxic shit. And I was like, no, it's not. It's rose-flavored water. It just felt so good. I was just so excited that I'd made this work, that I wasn't full of crap, that I could actually do this, even if this never worked again. It was like a big victory. I was just so happy about it. I was so happy. I was the last person, so after that, everyone started socializing, cleaning up, and I just went to the spot of grass that was the stage, lied down on it, pulled the stool and the microphone stand over me like a blanket, and just looked up at the stars. It made me realize that all these rules I had created for myself that I had in my head was just all fear. This was just fear, fear, fear. And that I needed to stop making rules for myself because my judgment is good. I should trust my judgment. I know what I'm doing. I'm creative. I'm important. I matter. I need to stand up for myself, do what I think matters. I just think it's going to be a battle against fear. I'm going to be fighting fear. Fear is what's going to be holding me back. And I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to win. Thank you so much for watching this. This was one of the more personal stories I've told, so I'm interested to hear how you feel about that. The next one I'm working on should be a little bit more fun and light, but I do plan on doing some more personal stories, especially if I get some good feedback about this one. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, share. Whatever you can do to help me, I really appreciate that. And once again, thank you so much for being here with me.